What are the possible revenue streams that can come out of your podcast? In order to understand that, first let's understand what are the metrics and how you measure what a successful podcast looks like. So here's a graphic we created a few years ago that we call the domino model. And you start up here and see, typically when podcasts are measured, people start to look at traditional ROI numbers like your downloads or your listens and things like that. And if you're just starting, there's a good chance that those numbers are pretty low. So let's say you go there and you look at a number and it's like 50. Like, how are you going to monetize this podcast? Like, who's going to pay you for ads on your podcast, which seem like the most common sort of revenue that can come out of a podcast? Who's going to pay to put ads on a podcast that has like 50 impressions per episode? Nobody likely. However, come over here on the right with me. Let's see if we move this around a little bit. Come over here on the right with me. And I want to show you the different ways in which you can start to think about revenue out of your podcast. Number one, you've got to see it as a platform, a party, a space, like your stage that you can invite people to. So when guests come to your podcast, there's a lot of value that comes from guests. Like, it's not only, oh, the guest is going to come on my podcast and then they're going to start paying me to use my services. That's not how it works. Instead, there'll be a whole bunch of introductions. Some of them might be people who buy some of your programs. Some of it may be people who choose to work like one-on-one with you, buy a larger service. Some of it could be introducing you on to like further people. So this whole purple section is a huge domino space, and that's all based on guest introduction. Then comes, we want to look at client podcast now. I'm going to do that in a different video. So I'm put myself over here. And then let's talk about some of the other ways in which you start to monetize. The most important thing you're going to start seeing is there's going to be a value to your podcast. People won't listen to it. They'll see stuff that comes out of it. And then they'll talk to other people and they'll recommend that people check out your podcast. That's the dark social sort of effect. And out of that comes another whole other domino that you're going to set off. And that's what we have down here in the green at the bottom. Really start to think about, like, you know, who that one person is who mentioned you at an event, or someone who said, oh, you should go listen to this podcast. And then through that comes a lot of higher level, higher ticket business, whatever your offers are, whether it's working with people one-on-one or it's selling them products, whatever is the higher end of it, that's going to come out of this kind of dark social. And then even beyond that, you're getting so much else out of a podcast. It's really worth thinking about revenue streams outside of ad money and outside of traditional ROI to make your podcast earn a lot more and bring in revenue.